record this session. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with today's session, and you can let your friends know that the meeting is going on and they need to join. So we'll start and we'll start with like installing the MySQL client that I had told you. Okay, so I hope that all of you must have downloaded it. Okay, so first we'll install the MySQL workflow. So the thing is that instead of installing the entire MySQL, that you can basically download from here. That is MySQL, or if you just search it, then you will get like mysql.com, and then from here you can go on downloads and download it. But you don't really need to download it because we have downloaded the XAMPP server, right? So in the XAMPP, what we can do is that we can run the MySQL server, right? So we will be running the MySQL server from there. We will be connecting the MySQL server with the Django, and then I will be giving you the code files for that, so that when you guys want, you guys can like work around with it during the weekend, so that on next Monday, when like more people are joining, then we'll start with their actual like development of the application. So this is the MySQL client. So to run the MySQL client, what we need to do is we need to first search for the XAMPP that we had installed yesterday. Okay. Yeah. So you just need to start the MySQL from XAMPP server, right? And you don't need to open the Apache, but what you can do is in the XAMPP server, you will also get this admin option. So, yeah. So when you click on the admin option, what will happen is that it will open localhost phpMyAdmin, and sorry, you need to start the Apache also. So after the Apache is loaded, what we'll do is, so after the Apache has loaded, so remember what we did. We have like opened Apache as well as MySQL from the XAMPP, what we installed yesterday. So basically click on XAMPP and then you will be able to open it. And second of all, we installed the MySQL workbench. Basically, you just need to open it and then double click on it. Then it will directly install. And second is that after you have installed the MySQL and then you have also like started the MySQL server, you can just click on the plus icon. Now on the plus icon, you can like name it. I will name it localhost, right? And remember the IP of localhost is 127.0.0.1, and it will be by default on the port 306. But if let us say on XAMPP server, if you go on like config, right? So if I say my.ini config, so here I can change the port. So you can see the basically port is on 3306, but I would not recommend you to change the port. Okay, because the thing is that if you change the port, then you have to remember it and also let your entire team know that you have changed the port, because most probably you are installing the MySQL panel on a server, right? So keep in mind that you don't change the port and you are accessing it on 3306. That is by default, because most of the people working in your team will be probably thinking that the port is 3306, and you will be needing this when you will be connecting to the server. So we know that our server is running on localhost, that is 127.0.0.1, and the port is 3306, and you can see this is by default, right? And on the username is by default root, because we have not set up anything and we have just installed the MySQL, right? So username will be root. And if you click on the password, then you don't really need to add any password, because by default the password is empty. And you also don't need to add default schema, because we have not created any database for now. So just click on test connection and it click on continue, and then it will say successfully made the MySQL connection, right? and make sure you are choosing the connection as a standard TCP IP, and then you can click on OK. Now I have one option on my like MySQL client. What I can do is I can double click on it. I will say don't show again, then I will say continue. Right. So now this is the basic look of MySQL. So what is happening is that first we have like MySQL addition, which you don't really need. What you can do is you can click on the third icon on the right hand side, like this blue icon, and you can like close this sidebar. Second is the output. So whenever you run a query, the output will be visible in this section. And then there is a navigation section where you can see the administration bar and the schemas bar, right? So by default, because we have installed the MySQL through PHP MyAdmin and like look this XAMPP server, I will get PHP MyAdmin database and test database as by default. But we will not be touching it. This is just for the testing purposes. We will be needing our own database, right? And there is also administration section where you will get different like user and privileges where you can like create new users and see the logs as well as like server logs and startup and this kind of thing. You will not be reading it as a software developer. So just click on the schemas part and then you will get a schema. Now to run any query, test any like SQL query, what we need is you need to right click on it and then you need to like set as default schema. Remember, we had entered the default schema, right? During when we were making connection, but that is optional. So what you can do is after you have loaded your database, you can click on set set as default schema, right? Then I can whatever query I'm running, it will be running on that schema only. So this was the setting that I wanted to talk about. So and second of all is that so let's now stop the MySQL client. So second of all that I want to talk about is that using MySQL or any database inside the Django, right? So let's go to our this files and let's go to the project that we had started yesterday. If I go on backend and this will be like my folder, right? So this is the environment that we had created for DNV, and this is the like project we have created. You can see there is app name within with the same name as the project. What I can do is I can right click, show more option, and then I can open with code. Or if you don't have option to open with code, what you can do is you can open the same folder in the command line and type code space and then dot. That will folder will also open on the like VS Code. That is also one of the functionalities. So for now, let's see. So yesterday what we did, we'll start from there. So again, you can see that it says history restored, but we are not in our like virtual environment, right? So what we need to do is, okay. So what we need to do is, first of all, like if I just try to, let us say I go to CD and then there's the tab and then I'm here, right? So now if I say ls, I have like manage.py. Now if I try to run that file, so Python manage.py, it will like not really give me anything, right? So it will say couldn't import the Django. That is because we don't have the virtual env and we need to like yeah, enable the virtual env before we like do anything with this current environment. So what I will do is, so I can say cd dot dot. First of all, I will go back to the file where I have installed my virtual env, which is the folder name is backend. It is lagging. What? Yeah. So you can see I have like food env folder. So now what I can do is, okay. So now what I will do is I will say root and then backslash and then the name of my virtual env. So food env, and then I will say scripts, which I had in food env, right? Scripts. Then I will say activate. Okay. Let's see. This. Yeah, so my okay, so this environment is created, right? So second of all is that okay, once the environment is created, now what I will be doing is coming back here. So you can see last time we created the URLs file for my food application, right? So food is my main application, and beside food, I have food app name application, which is the default like main application created automatically when I created the project. Okay, and second of all, I have the environment folder, and third is my app, like app which I created as the secondary app. Okay, so what I will do is in this URLs .py, I need to add like two more, or let us say three more views, right? So first of all, I have a home view which will be loaded when I like directly go on any kind of let us say URL, right? And second is that let us go, if I go on any endpoint, let us say I have selected the food that I want and then I want to order it. So what I can do is I can go on slash orders, right? So I need to register that URL also. And same, because we have already printed this, then what will happen is that only the URLs from the food will be registered in the main application URL. Okay. If I want to get any kind of URL from like, let us say my app, that is my secondary application, what I have to do is I have to register this also. Okay. So what I will do is here I will say my app, that is name of application. And then I will add this, the commerce. Okay. And then in the my app, what I will do is I will first create a urls.py file. So urls.py. And in here, simply just like what we have done in the food, I will just copy it, right? And here I will create a view, and view can also be same as this. So what we will do is we will say here and yeah. So render. So instead of home, I will call it my app, right? Because home already exists in the this food application. So what I will do is instead of index, I will say, let us say my app.html. Okay. Now what I have done is I have created a view, and then now I have also pointed a template to that particular view. So what is happening in Django is that there is a particular view and then there is a template which that particular view will render. So every time you go on any kind of URL endpoint, so let us say if I go on a website, so at the start there will be no URL, right? So that will be like name of the domain name. Let us say if I go to www.google.com. So by default there will be only google.com. But if you search something, you will be routed to different URL, right? So if I just show it to you, so let us say if I go on yeah, so google.com. So right now I don't have like anything, but if I let us say search news, right? Then it will say slash search and then the name of query, whatever query is there. Okay. So this is what is happening. So what we are doing is by default, we have made a view of home where let us say when user visits our application, he will see that view by default. And second is the view, like I want to create an endpoint and route the user to that endpoint when he like clicks on a button, or let us say he is searching for something on user action, like where he will be routed. So that is been like we can control that using views. And once the user will go to that particular view, what that view will do is whatever template is being rendered to that view. So on home view, the index.html template was being rendered. So if I just go here, so you can see that on the home view, I am rendering index.template using the render function. So basically what I have to do is here, I am in my app view, I have to render my app.html. Now, where I will get this file in the templates file. So I have my app application created using the same name as app. I will say new file, and then I will say my app.html. Right. And then I will say, let us say h1, this is my app. Okay. Now I have created a my app template, as well as I have created a my app view. So what I will do is I will go here, and here I will say, so this is view for urls.py for my app. So what I will say is I will give you a name. So name, as I said, it is good thing to have the name same as the view. Second is that from view, I will import the name. So let us say I will import my app. Okay. And I want to give the path such as my app. Okay, and make sure you are not adding the trailing slashes. So if I say my app, then you are not saying my app slash, because Django by default will do that for you. So I have the my app, and I also have, let us say, here I have also imported it. So now if I run the terminal, I should be getting that. If I say Python manage.py run server. Okay. So I need to go to food app, and then I will run this, because my manage.py is in the food app directory. That is the name of my project. Okay, so it says there is some warning. Let's see what the warning is. When we'll be visiting the website, will so this is index, and then I will say my app. It is saying it is not so you must start. So food app URLs. Let's see what the issue is. So this is URLs for the food app, which is my main, and here I have saved. Yeah, so I have not imported it. So from that will be my app import views. Now if I go here, let's see what the issue is. So I check here then. Okay, yeah, I have written it wrong. Sorry. Instead of at the start, it should be here. Okay. Now if I say template does not exist. So now my URL is working, but the template is not working. Why is that? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So what I have done is in the view. So my app view, instead of food, I have to say my app. That is name of my application. So the name of my application in the first app is food, but in this like app, the name of my application is my app. If I say now, I can say that this is my app, which was my H1. Okay, so basically what we have done is that whenever there is a view, what I'm doing is I'm going to that view, and then that view is rendering a template which I have specified in my app function. Okay, and how the view is being loaded, it is being loaded when a user is visiting a certain endpoint. That endpoint we can control by giving link of that endpoint on a front end, so that whenever user is going on, let us say clicking on a button or a tag, that is anchor tag, he will be routed to that link, and when he goes to that endpoint, a view will open. That view will be rendering the particular template. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So first is that we have only seen the template of like my app. So what I will do is first let's add some bootstrap. So we are on the index page. So if I just go to food, and then I will say template. If I go to index, then what I want is get bootstrap. Okay. Okay. So first I will get the template, and here I will say I have this. So in the title, what I will do is in title, let us say I want to name my application as home, because this is the home page, right? This one, but here, because this is the home page, so I want to call it home. So second is that let's see how we can use static or load static. So second is that I want to include a link, right? So what I can do is let me see which image I can use. Yeah, so let's see. First of all, I will link it. So link, I will say link fav icon. Okay, and then in the href, what I have to say is I will say curly bracket on and off, like start the curly bracket and then end the bracket, and then I will say double percentage. Okay, and then I will use the keyword static, and then I will say like the single quotes. In the single quotes, I will give path to that particular file that I want to render. Okay, so first let me download, see if I have a file like session. I will use a file that we already had. So I have this file. What I will do is I will go on backend, and then I will go on my application, and then currently this view is for like see food app, right? So I will go on the food app folder, and then I will go on static. I will create I have another folder using the same name as app. So I will go here, and then what I will do is I will create a new application, say images, right? So img. So you can name it any folder you want. I will like paste the image here. So I have the burger.png. So next thing I would do is, so in the static, now I'm saying that this is pointing to the static directory. Inside the static directory, I have a same folder name with like applications. So I will say food, that is name of application, then slash, and then inside food, I have created a new folder called as image. And then inside image, I have the name of file, which is burger.png. Now, because I'm using a PNG file, I will have to say image slash PNG. And here, instead of like shortcut icon, I can just say icon. Okay. Now, if I go to, let us say, index, what I will do is currently I cannot use it because every time like, I use a static content, I have to say load static. So just before I'm loading the static, what I will do is now this is only have to be done once. Okay, but make sure that you are not loading the static when you are not using let us say I have a static here, but you are not loading the static after this line. Okay, make sure that you are loading the static just above it, so that you know that on the next line I'm loading the static, and once you have loaded the static, that is enough. You don't have to load it second time. Okay, so I will say this, and then I will say load static. Okay, now if I go here and if I do this, then I have the title as home, and I have the worker 5 icon, right? And I have like hello world, which was the default text that I got from the template. And if I change it, it will also change. Let us say if I say that uh, this is home page, right? So now this is changed to this is home page. But what I will do is, let us say I have one more template that I want. So in the food app, I will create order, right? So order.html. And then in order, what I will do is I will just copy it for now, so that I have same fav icon. And here I will say this is order page. Okay, but now if I want to go to the order page, what I have to do is I have to link this. To link this, what I have to do is I have to go on the food apps view. In the view, I will create another view. So I will say def order, and then I will say request, right? So then I will say return. Now I want to render. First, I want to render the request, that when the request is made to this particular view, and then I will say name of application, and then like when I say name of application, that is basically pointing to a template, and then the name of the folder that is same as application, and then I will say order.html, right? Now I have created the view. What I want to do is I want to change the URL. Now I only have to change the URL once, because I'm importing the entire URL for this application on the main project. So I only need to change the URL of this particular application. So urls.py for the food application, and here I will say path, and then quotes, and then I will say order, right? And then views dot I will import the order, and then I will say name equal to order. Okay, and use the comma to end it. Now if I refresh it, it is still running and I will say order. Now I am on this is order page, right? And if I go to my app, then it will say this is my app and this is the home page. What I can also do is, so let us say I go to food app, which is the default application I get when I create the project. I will go here and in the urls.py, I will say that first let me give a name to this. So let me say name. I can give name as let us say food, that is name of application. And here I will also give name. So you can see you don't even need to give name, but it is good idea to give it so that you know it is good for the reference. And then for now, what is happening is so activity. So for now, what is happening? So whenever the main project is getting the request for from any kind of endpoint, what is going on is that, so let us say it request first endpoint will be like nothing, the slash, that is root. Then what is happening is that it is saying that include food.urls. So it is searching for that particular endpoint in food. But if I say path and say food, right? So now, if I like try to access it, it will say no. But if I say food and then give it, then I can access the home page. Why? Because I have added food. So every time, whenever you are adding a URL endpoint, make sure that you are, you know, like what URL you are typing in both of the URL file. That is main project URL as well as your application URL. Because first the project URL will be checked, and after the project URL has been like checked, then only it will check the app URL. That means project URL endpoint plus the app URL endpoint, right? So this is how it is measuring. But if I say nothing here, right? If I copy it and now if I reload, it will not be like, you know, loading it. It will say no. So what I can do is I can say just, I have like empty URL, and for my index page, I'm not getting like giving any kind of URL. I'm just going on the main domain name and then I'm getting this view. So I hope the views concept has been clear for you guys how to give endpoint. So second thing that I want to conclude is that so let's go on the template that we had. So in the template, I have the index and then I also have the order, right? So now the only thing that is changing in both of these template is H1 tag. So right. So what if we can have a common file that can be used for both of these like files, right? So what I will be able to do is, so let us say I have multiple teams. So there are like, let us say it's 10 or 12 people are working on a project. So what I can do is, so let us say if I say that the developer number one will be working on the navigation bar, developer number two will be working on the sidebar, and two different people will be working on the card. Like, you know, the card that we are showing on the front end, the other people will be working on that, and the design will be worked on other people. So if I want to work on same web page, but there are multiple people, what if like I can you know, create different files, and then the my framework will be able to merge all the file together and show a single application. So we can do that. So in the food app, I will first create let us say base.html. Okay. Now in base.html, what I will do is, first I will simply copy it, right? Okay, so I would say that this is, I will not write any H1, right? So this is my base HTML. Now what we can do is that I don't need like all of this in the index or order.html. I can just go on the base.html, and now I will say that, yeah. So first let's change the title, because the title says home. What I will do is I will use a wildcard where I can, like, you know, specify the name of title. So what I will do is I will first open the curly braces, and then I will open close curly braces again. Then I will say is that double and percent. Okay. And then I will say block title, right? And then I will say like again double percentage, and then in between the percent I will say and block. Okay. So now see what is happening is that I am saying inside this title, this is something called as like template rendering. Okay, in Django there is something called as template rendering where we can use predefined blocks. Just like HTML has elements, we can have element where block title is like let us say opening like tag, and then end block is the closing tag, and whatever I am writing in between will be rendered. Okay, but what I want to like render can be defined based on the URL. So let us say if I go on URL of home, then what I'm doing is that let us say in that block title I'm typing home. So when I go there in the title, it will be rendering home. But when I am on a different URL and in that block title, I'm writing let us say orders. So when I'm going on order view, it will say orders. The title will say order. But the good thing is that I don't want to change my favicon, right? So that will be rendered on both of the page without even changing anything. So what is happening is that, so let me open the page. Yeah, so let's see what is happening actually. Okay, so I hope everyone can see this. So if I, let us say I have my main application, correct? So this is my main application. Okay. So what I can do is, I have this title bar here. Okay. But what I can do is for different pages. So let us say